UFC 299 O'Malley versus Vera 2 takes place this weekend, and we've got your full card breakdown coming up next. This card is humongous. Stay right here.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS, and I'm here with my guy, Dino Bam Bam.
What up, DS? How you doing, dog?
I'm doing good, man. I'm absolutely pumped for this card. UFC 299 coming up. It's arguably better than UFC 300. You can make the argument at least. So I'm super pumped for this card, man. I'm ready to break it down, and I'm ready to hear what you have to say. To be honest, we haven't really discussed too much between the two of us. This card coming up. I mean, some massive fights. Before we jump right into all that, why don't you tell the people what they should do?
All right. If you guys are enjoying the content or have enjoyed previous content or are looking forward to the amazing content we have coming up this week, Dino, we've got the casuals guide coming out tomorrow. We've got your safety parlay coming up a day after that. Probably going to have some other videos, SUGA show videos, Chito videos. Who knows?
SUGA show.
Hey, there it is. We're dropping a ton of content. If you guys are enjoying, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. That helps us actually a lot with the YouTube algo. What are you doing over there?
I'm just excited.
Guys going absolutely nuts. So yeah, thumbs up, subscribe, all that. Follow us on Instagram at the107MMA. Bunch of pictures with us and fighters and a lot of other cool shit. Dino, I see that. You're going nuts.
Bad bitches.
You look like you're ready for Miami.
Damn. Miami.
Let's go. I'm excited, bro. So
man, me too, dude.
Should we start? We should start, I think.
Yeah, let's get right into this motherfucker. All right, first fight of the night. It could potentially be the best fight of the night.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm talking about Joanne Wood taking on Marina Moroz. What do you think about this one?
I love that I get to start off with this absolute banger, bro. All right, Joanne Wood, formerly Joanne Calderwood. That's going to come into play later on because there's another weird name.
You know what? I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
I don't like that they took away the Calder, bro.
Right. What's that about? How much wood could a Calderwood wood, you know, all that kind of shit.
All that shit, but like she was like a specific type of wood. Now she's just wood. Like I don't like that, dude. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. Anywho, bro, she's a 38-year-old veteran, Dino. She's a solid striker. She does a good job with her kicks. She's got a good jab. She's active on the feet. The grappling's okay. Good takedowns. She's tough to take down. She's at her best when she's the one going forward and initiating and dictating the action. She clearly hasn't looked as good recently as she used to look before that. But then when you look at her losses,
she's 38 years old. She can't possibly look
right.
as good.
So she's definitely on the decline. But her losses have come to some of the best girls in the world, right?
As you get older, things start to sag. Like you can't possibly look as good as when you were younger.
I feel that. You know, I'm not even that old yet, but I feel that. I'm sagging, baby. Anyway, her losses have come to great fighters, right? She lost to the champion Alexa Grasso. Before that, Tyler Santos, Lauren Murphy, quote unquote great, you know, Jennifer Maia, Katlyn Chookagian, or Katlyn, whatever the hell she goes by now. She hasn't lost to any schlubs, okay? Last time out, she won a very close decision against Luana Carolina. Interested to see what she looks like. She's fighting Marina Moroz for the second time. This is a rematch, by the way. Good striker, similar to JoJo. She's really active. You know, she likes to use her reach. She likes to stay on the outside. She has some solid takedowns, pretty good ground game. These two fought like 9 years ago. I don't know how much that factors into this. I don't think it factors in at all because that's almost a damn decade ago. Yeah, Marina Moroz won that one. Moroz is the younger fighter. She's more dangerous for sure. But I don't really think like too highly of her, to be honest with you. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. She's only fought 4 times in 4 years. She's not too active. I think we get a stand-up fight. I think we get a pretty boring fight, unfortunately, for us fans. If that's the case, I'm going JoJo by decision. She's fought the better comp, and I just think she's the better fighter.
Yeah. I mean, listen, easily the worst fight on the card. Like you said, Joanne Wood is 38 years old. Marina Moroz did win the first fight, but like you said, man, how much stock do you really put on that? We last saw Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina, like you said, not particularly high on either fighter, quite frankly. That was a close fight, though. You know, she looked pretty good still. It's tough, man. With these women's fights, a lot of the times, like the person that has the more experience, you know, ends up winning the fight. This is very 50-50 to me. I've gone back and forth on it. I guess I'm going to go with Marina Moroz just because Joanne Wood looks slow as hell. So I think Marina Moroz could land more shots just by being the more active fighter here. If it goes to the ground, I think we're very live for Marina Moroz submission. I just think she's going to have a hard time getting Joanne Wood down. Joanne Wood is very, very tough, even at 38 years old. I mean, this is such a 50-50 fight to me. I wouldn't bet on either one, and I wouldn't certainly throw them into any parlays. If I'm going to bet anything here, I'll bet for it to go to the decision. To go to decision. I don't really see a finish here at all. Minus 200. I don't love those odds, to be honest. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing them, to be quite honest with you. This is kind of making me want to go with Joanne Wood, but I guess I'll stick with Marina Moroz by decision here.
Yeah, pretty 50-50 fight. But that is kind of why I'm leaning towards Joanne Wood, right? So 50-50 fight, the veteran, and I've got a plus 165 on her. I feel like it's a good shot to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next fight on the card, we've got CJ Vergara. He's taking on Asu Almabayev, and I believe is he making his debut?
No, his second fight.
Sorry, yeah, his second fight. He beat Ode Osborne last time out. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, this one is pretty straightforward to me. You see the odds, minus 440. Almabayev, he's from that region of the world, right? We kind of know how he fights, and he does fight like that, right? So Ode Osborne is pretty damn good. CJ Vergara, how old is he now?
Still pretty young.
I mean, he's almost 33. He's really not that old. It's just like, I just think it's a bad matchup for him, quite frankly. CJ Vergara is not bad anywhere, but he's also not great anywhere. Almabayev, I just have way more confidence in his style of fighting. Has he fought the best level of competition? No, but I just think it's a bad matchup, man. I just see him. He's definitely going to be better on the ground. He's okay on the feet. The odds kind of tell the story for me here. I'm going Almabayev. I'm going to go Almabayev. CJ Vergara is tough. I'm going to say by decision.
Fair enough. Yeah, like you said, man, the odds kind of speak for themselves here, right? Asu Almabayev, a pretty high-level prospect. He's aggressive as hell. I like his striking. It's pretty flashy for a guy from that region of the world who is a grappler, like you said. He's got real power, man. And then CJ Vergara, a guy that's super fast-paced, super high pressure. I love his boxing for what it's worth. Great in the clinch, good jiu-jitsu. He's a well-rounded fighter. But I don't know. To me, Asu Almabayev just passes the eye test a little more. He seems a little bit more durable to me. I think this is going to be a super fun fight. I think it's going to be super fast-paced, action-packed. But yeah, I'm taking Asu Almabayev. I just think that we saw CJ Vergara get taken down by Tatsuro Taira, who is a high-level wrestler, but we saw him held down and kind of like dominated on the ground. I think Almabayev is going to be able to do the same thing. I feel like he takes the back and gets a choke in the second round.
Yeah, I absolutely could. I was going to say submission. I'm just giving CJ Vergara a little bit of leeway. I just think, he's a veteran. He's been here, but absolutely live for a sub, no question.
Let's get it.
Moving on to the third fight of the night, and this is an interesting one. We've got a big-time prospect, if you want to call him that. I mean, he's 35 years old? So, at heavyweight, it's interesting because he could have a good 5 years in him, even though he's only 4-0. And, of course, I'm talking about Robles de Spain from Cuba. He's taking on Josh Parisian. Dino Bam Bam, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, interesting you mentioned 35 years old at heavyweight, right? We just saw that, the road is pretty damn quick at heavyweight when you're kind of older and, you have some...
Especially when you're 35, if he's going to win this fight, let's be honest. But whatever you think about it, I mean, when you're 35 and you're highly touted, especially, right? The UFC is going to give them a push, right? Yeah. They're not going to sit there. They're not going to make him fight a handful of times, even at 4-0. I think they're just going to see what he's made of, and they're just going to throw him into the fire,
Yeah, and we just kind of saw that this last week, right? With the main event. That's what they're going to do when you're a little bit older and, you've got some name value and an undefeated record and you're 34, 35 years old. You don't got, too much time. And the heavyweight division's so bare that they're willing to just throw guys in towards the top right away. So anyways, Robles de Spain, if you guys don't know, 35 years old, this dude is a fucking giant. He's 6'7". He has an 87-inch reach. He's 4-0, 4 first-round knockouts. super duper hyped guy. Former Olympic gold, or not gold medalist. I think he was a silver medalist in Taekwondo. Like I said, dude's a giant. Dino, in his first 4 fights, he's 4-0. The first one was like 4 minutes and 50-something seconds. He knocked the dude out. His next 3 fights, get this, 12 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. A total of 19 seconds in 3 fights, and he got 3 knockouts. Dude is humongous. He's athletic as hell. He's super damn powerful. He's unproven, but he doesn't seem untouchable, right? He fights with his hands down. He keeps his hands low. Don't get it twisted, though. The guy's stupidly damn dangerous. He's taking on Josh Parisian. We know all about Josh Parisian, right? Veteran, striker, decent cardio. He's just kind of like a middle-of-the-pack UFC heavyweight. He's okay. He's nothing special. You know, and heavyweight isn't anything special, again, as we saw this weekend. So, look, this is obviously set up for Robelis to win this fight. I don't think it's going to be as easy as his last few fights because Josh Parisian is a huge step up for him. I don't think it matters, though. I think we get a quick first-round knockout, and we're going to see Robelis Despain fighting ranked guys soon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Josh Parisian is not like the worst guy, but he is fat and sloppy. And the UFC, it's quite obvious to me what they're doing here. They're giving him Josh Parisian, you know, he's been around for a little bit. They're giving him somebody that's very winnable. Like I said, man, they're not gonna put Robles Despain against like an up and coming prospect. They're not gonna, you know, they want this guy with the name value. They want to capitalize on that. The UFC is a business, right? So they want to capitalize on that. They're giving him a very, very winnable fight. He's super skilled on the feet. He's a Taekwondo Olympic medalist, right? He's fluid. He's agile. He's strong. Obviously, he's going to need work in the grappling. You know, his grappling is not great, and we really haven't seen him tested there. So, you know, and I've said this before about heavyweight. Once you get these fat boys down, you know, you kind of stay down, right? So Josh Parisian, if he's smart, he should try to do that. But good fucking luck taking down a 6'7" guy. So, listen, to me, this is tailor-made for him to win. I think Robles is going to win by KO. I'll say by TKO in the second round. I think he lands a big shot. Could be in the first round too, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be very early on. I think, you know, it's a big jump up in competition. Nonetheless, I think it's a big jump up in terms of the eyes that are on you. So there's a lot of eyes on him, a lot of things riding on this too, right? So for me, it's kind of a gimme fight. I don't think he's going to be like a complete cakewalk, but the difference in skill on the feet and the size and yeah, I you know, if he loses this, go back to Cuba or wherever the hell he was fighting before this. That's all I pretty much got to say about that. I'll say second round TKO.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't win this fight, Dino, then there is no future for him at heavyweight. So,
yeah, right. No question. No question. Moving on. We got the fourth fight of the night. It's Felipe Lins, and he's taking on Ion Cutelaba. I literally feel like I've broken down this fight like 7 times. I don't know if I'm tripping or what's going on, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like these guys, I know they've been scheduled to fight once before. I feel like I've written like 4 breakdowns for them. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go with Ion here, man. I don't mind Felipe Lins. You know, he's getting up there in age. He's 37, 38 years old. And then you got Ion Cutelaba, right? And he's kind of a knockout or be knocked out or finish or get finished kind of guy, right? And you know what? I haven't minded how Felipe Lins has looked at light heavyweight. You know,
right.
He did get wrecked by Tanner Boser at heavyweight, which is like, you know, I expect a little bit more than that if I'm going to choose you. Ion Cutelaba, man, I just, you know, even with Felipe Lins having been a heavyweight, I expect Ion to be the stronger fighter physically. He's going to go out there and he's going to get it, man. And Felipe Lins is now, 38 years old? So younger fighter, a lot of power. And when I'm talking about Ion Cutelaba, it's very possible that he gets a knockout here, you know, pure power and athleticism. Just based off that alone, I think I got to go with Ion here, man. If you look at his losses, they're all to really good competition. He does have some impressive wins. Felipe Lins, to some extent, you know, even at light heavyweight, even though he physically looks better, he still kind of moves like a heavyweight to me in a lot of ways, right? Ion Cutelaba, the more natural, agile guy, more powerful. Yes, we've seen his chin tested many times, right? So I kind of could see it going either way. I wouldn't be super shocked if Lins wins, but I think I got to pick Ion Cutelaba here. I'm going to go by late first round knockout.
I love that. You think if Felipe Lins wins, I like that. Kind of rhymes. Yeah, anyways.
I was tripping off it when I said it, to be honest.
Lins wins. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm going Ivan Cutelaba. Yes, he is kill or be killed, finish or, be finished. He's fought the better guys. His resume, it's not like stupidly impressive, right? He does have a win over Khalil Roundtree. There's some good wins there. His losses, though, are quality people. Jared Cannonier, Glover Teixeira, Ankalaev, Span, Johnny Walker, Kennedy. So, like, high level losses, man. Felipe Lin's on a 3-fight win streak. I wouldn't be shocked if he wins this fight at all. Kutalaba's chinny as hell, but I'm going to stick with him. I feel like he gets the knockout, but if he doesn't, he's getting finished. So very simple in this one. Does not go the distance, I don't think, at all. I don't really have much to add.
Yeah. Well said, my friend. Moving on to the 5th fight of the night, we've got, and this is a fun one, man. We've got Michel Pereira finally fighting again. It's been a little while since we've seen him. He's taken, so it's Michel versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, of course. And don't forget, Michel Pereira has moved up to middleweight. This is his 2nd fight, I want to say, at middleweight in the UFC. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I love this fight, man. When I first saw it get made, I was like pretty damn certain I was going with Michel Pereira. I felt very comfortable with this one. I still kind of feel that way, to be honest with you. Like, so when it comes to Michel Pereira, we all know the story, right? He's the capoeira guy. He's wild as hell. He flips, he jumps, he does all this crazy shit. He used to gas out a ton. He moved up to 185. He's really kind of like redesigned himself. He's reined in the bullshit that like used to cause him a lot of fights, right? That's how I feel anyways. I feel like he's more calm. He's a little more focused. It's still there, that craziness, but it's a little more controlled. He's taking on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Good striker, good hands, fast for his size, solid power. Cardio's a little iffy, but so is Michel Pereira's. But Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's got a great chin. He's got a heart. We saw that in his last fight. I'm a big fan of both of these guys. But to me, Michel Pereira, at 30 years old and the way he looked in his last fight, the form that he's in, I can't not pick him. I feel like Michel Pereira goes out there. He looks scary as hell and gets another first-round KO, man.
Yeah, I was worried for a second with what you were saying in the beginning. I thought you were going to go with Oleksiejczuk. Yeah, listen, man, Oleksiejczuk is more of a brawler than anything to me, right? He doesn't stand. He's got good power, right? And we've seen him rock people bad. We've seen him get rocked too, Michel Pereira, man, looked really good in his middleweight debut last time versus Andre Petrosky, who's not the best striker, right? Not really much in the striking department, but a really good grappler. But, man, he outclassed the shit out of him, ended up knocking him out. Kind of curious that he moved up, right? I mean, maybe he was having really, really tough weight cuts, but he is a pretty swole dude. It's just curious because it's like bro was about to fight Wonder Boy, right? So it's like you're kind of getting to the top of welterweight. And he didn't lose or anything. He just decided he's going to switch. So interesting, something to think about. But like you said, man, throws a bunch of crazy shit. He has kind of tamed himself a little bit. And at middleweight, he looks really, really good so far, man. And then one thing that's underrated is his ground game. His ground game is not freaking bad, man. His jiu-jitsu is really good. He can hold his own anywhere, right? He's taking on a brawler in Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, he fought another stylish striker last time, and Chidi Njokuani, right? And he ended up knocking his ass out, but Chidi was beating his ass, right? Chidi was beating his ass until he started gassing out. He started taking a bunch of shots. But listen, Michel Pereira has a much better chin than Chidi Njokuani, in my opinion. So, and he's not quite as dumb of a fighter, quite frankly. So I think we see Michel Pereira get the knockout too. I'm going to say in the 2nd round. I just think he's better overall, man. I just think he's the better fighter. Mikhail is tough, but Pereira has more ways to win this. If it needs to go to the ground, he'll be the one with the advantage there, in my opinion. He's fought better comp, and he hasn't lost. Like I said, man, he just moved up because I'm assuming that the weight cuts were just not something that he wanted to do anymore. That's a big risk to take, right? That's a big risk to take when you're getting to the top of a division like that to then switch gears and move to a different division. Very interesting, but hey, it's looking like it's going to continue to pay off for him.
Yeah, he's a big ass dude, man. He was huge at 170. I'm sure the weight cut was killing him, so it's got to be that, right? That's the reason we're at 185. But he looked good at 185, man. He made a splash.
I'd like to make a splash in your pants, my brother.
Pretty odd.
Pretty odd. Moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Pedro Munoz, and he's taking on Kyler Phillips. I love me some Pedro Munoz. This is a really good fight, man. This is a really good fight, and I'm very excited for it. I really, really like Pedro Munoz. Always been a big fan of him. Is he the biggest guy? No, but the dude is good everywhere, man. He puts on a hell of a pace. He's got great striking. He's got good power for the division, especially for somebody his size. Kyler Phillips, his opponent, is another guy that likes to fight at a high pace. Now, Kyler Phillips and Pedro Munoz, almost 10 years apart between them, right? So, and we talk about this all the time, right? Pedro Munoz at such a light weight class, when these guys are all so skilled, there's just so much skill. The skill level, like what did DC say? I want to say that he said, like, you have to be like 10 times better at these lower weight classes than you do at like heavyweight and light heavyweight and these things. And I tend to agree with that, you know? Pedro Munoz, one of the pioneers of the leg kick in the modern mixed martial arts game, loves to use that shit. And I think it's going to be a benefit to him against somebody like Kyler Phillips, who loves to move around a lot, puts on a big pace, like I said. Pedro Munoz, great volume striker, unbelievable pace. He's a little guy, right? He only has a 65-inch reach. Kyler Phillips, I want to say, is going to have 7 inches of reach on him, 2 inches of height. He's 10 years younger. I really mostly expect this fight to stay on the ground. I'm sorry, on the feet. If it goes to the ground, I do give Pedro Munoz the advantage here. Listen, Pedro Munoz has fought way better competition. He's been here for a long, long time, man. And last time out, he fought Marlon Vera. I thought he won that fight, quite frankly. So I just think that the UFC has their agenda, and it was close enough where you can give it to Marlon Vera. But, man, he still looked pretty damn good. That was like, what, 10 months ago or something like that? I expect a very high pace here. I expect Pedro Munoz to work those leg kicks and slow down the movement of Kyler Phillips. I think Kyler Phillips is going to land some big shots too. This is a very, very close fight to me, man. This is big-time fight of the night potential on a stacked card. It's going to be a blast no matter where you – sorry, I got choked on my own spit a little bit. No matter which way you look at it, it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be a tough stand-up fight. But ultimately, man, give me the underdog. I think Pedro's going to win this. I know he's old, but he's been here before, man. And listen, Kyler Phillips, it wasn't that long ago he lost to Holly and Paiva, okay?
Right.
So I'm taking Pedro Munoz by decision in this one.
I feel that. I mean, I feel you. Look, Dino, when it comes to Pedro Munoz, he's a dog, right? He's tough as hell. All the stuff that you said. We don't really need to like break down any more about him. But look, when it comes to the recent fights, okay, I think he won that Chito fight as well. I think before that, he was beating the current champion, Sean O'Malley. I gave him that first round. He was doing well in the second until the eye pokes happened, and ultimately there was a no contest ruled. The level of comp is crazy. I mean, he's lost to these guys, but Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, Aljamain Sterling, those are all former UFC champions. He's beat Rob Font. He's beaten a former champion in Cody Garbrandt. Like, the resume speaks for itself. He's been there, done that. Phillips, man, he's young as hell. He's fast. He looks the part. Like, the guy he's him. He's got good power. He's fast, great car, like all the above. He literally meets all the criteria for me on the feet. There are the problems that I see with him is some iffy decision making, right? He seems kind of dumb for what that's worth. But that he's young, that's to be expected. If he fixes that, I think he'll be a mainstay in the rankings at 135 for a long time to come. The key thing that's scaring me, of course, is the age, 37 to 28, as you mentioned. But you know what, Dino, I'm with you, man. I'm going Pedro Munoz by decision. I just think
let's fucking go, dude.
I think the last 2 fights, bro, against Chito and against Sean O'Malley, the 2 guys fighting in the main event for the world title, he was beating both of them, in my opinion. So I got to stick with him.
Yeah, and truthfully, I like Kyler Phillips a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I don't want to I don't want that to get twisted at all. I think he's legit.
See, that's what I was gonna say though. I just don't think he's that guy. I don't think we see him I don't see him as somebody that's gonna be top 5 in the division or something like that personally. So also Pedro Munoz, absolute my guy. I just gotta say that. And maybe potentially my favorite fighter at 135 of all time.
It's a wild ass take.
I love Pedro Munoz, man. I love his style. Like, I just love how he fights. He gives it his goddamn all. He's not a big dude, but he's so goddamn tough. And he's watch any Pedro Munoz fight. He's never been in a boring fight.
Right.
So, anyway, moving on to the 7th fight of the night, and we've got an absolute your boy in Mateusz Gamrot, and he's taking out RDA Rafael dos Anjos. What do you think about this one, my guy?
I don't know why you would call Mateusz Gamrot a my boy, but
because I know you hate him.
I don't hate him. I don't hate the guy.
Okay, I'm sorry, you don't hate him. You just say he's like the luckiest fighter of all time.
Hear me out, right? He gets a lot of shit, Mateusz Gamrot. He gets a ton of shit for a guy being so high up in the rankings, for having such a good record. I feel like he kind of gets like a bullshit rap, right? Yes, he lost to Beneil Dariush. Was he quote unquote fraud checked? I don't necessarily know if it's a fraud check. Beneil was really damn good. And what's Beneil really good at? Scrambling and grappling. And that's that is Mateusz Gamrot's game. That's all he's got. So anyways, Mateusz Gamrot, for what it's worth, he's beat Jailton Turner after that Beneil fight. As you know, Jailton Turner, no joke. That's an absolute our boy. He's a dog. He beat Arman Tsarukyan. I think Arman Tsarukyan won that fight, but it was close enough to where the judges saw it his way. That's pretty damn impressive as well. He's a lot better than people give him credit for. I'll say that. RDA, on the other hand, what needs to be said? A former champion, a legend of the sport, very well-rounded, but he's aging, man. He's almost 40 years old. He's been in the UFC forever. Prime for prime, this is a no-brainer. RDA wins this fight. Now, though, I can't pick RDA. I think Gamrot sets an insanely high pace. He wins a one-sided decision using his wrestling. He probably shoots 20 takedowns in this fight, and that's how he wins it. I think on his best day, Mateusz Gamrot has a chance against anyone in the division. And I don't think he beats those guys like 8 out of 10 times, but I think he's got a shot against everyone in the division on his best day. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I get it, man. I get it. I just want to ask, what sense does this fight make? This fight to me makes no sense. Gamrot is fighting a guy ranked way below him. Gamrot should be fighting up at this point, right? Is RDA even officially ranked at lightweight at this point?
I don't think so, because he left the rankings, right, to go to 70.
Exactly, dude. So he's 40 and he's moving around divisions, right? Gamrot should be fighting up. And listen, man, it's a bad matchup for RDA, right? This is like RDA's kryptonite. He's a decent wrestler himself, which is interesting. I also want to say I was so not impressed with neither him nor Luque in their last fight.
They've got RDA at 11 in the rankings at 55.
He shouldn't even be ranked, dude.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. He should not be ranked, in my opinion. RDA, okay, at welterweight, right?
No, at 55.
Oh, I'm sorry, at lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay, he was at welterweight though, but he's ranked at 11 at lightweight.
Yeah.
Guess how many wins he has at lightweight in the last 8 years?
You tell me, brother.
He has one fucking win in the last 8 years at lightweight, and the audacity to put him at 11. This is such bullshit to me. The ranking, in my opinion, is just them throwing a number on RDA to justify this fight in some sense. Anyway, it's a god-awful matchup for him. When he goes against elite or really, really, really good wrestlers, what happens? He gets constantly taken down, and that's what's going to happen here, man. I think we see Gamrot just impose his will, constantly take RDA down. He's the younger fighter. RDA is fucking 40 years old, man. Didn't look good against Luque. It was a competitive fight, but Luque didn't look good, right? So I don't see a world where RDA wins this fight, quite frankly. I think this is one of the locks of the card.
Yeah, so I'll tell you my opinion, since we're being truthful and open on this one. Mateusz Gamrot, minus 355. The odds makers know what's up. I think this is the UFC. As you mentioned earlier in this card, they have their reasons. It's a business, right? I've heard this a bunch of times. Islam Makhachev wants the Mateusz Gamrot fight. It's a very, very easily winnable fight for Islam.
Wow.
A legacy improver, right? I think that's the reason Gamrot won the decision over Tsarukyan, to be honest with you. So I think they want to eventually get there.
You think there's conspiracy here?
I think there's conspiracy afoot, brother. I know it sounds like I'm nuts, but Mateusz Gamrot wins this fight. He probably jumps Michael Chandler in the rankings, goes up to 5. Some shit happens, and it's justifiable that you give him a title shot. He's on a 3-fight win streak at that point, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, maybe that is exactly what's happening because the fight, truthfully, doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Anyways, moving on to the next fight of the night, we've got Katlyn Cerminara, aka Katlyn Chookagian. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Who the fuck is fighting Maycee Barber? Because that's her opponent, Maycee Barber, as it says at the bottom of the screen. By the way, look at this. How bougie is that, huh? You see all that? Look at the theme. The theme is giving Miami too. It's like very fancy. I like it. Yeah. So Katlyn Chookagian apparently got married. Good for her. We at 10-7 MMA wish her the best and her husband the best in their future endeavors. Mashallah. Okay. Good for them. Yeah. So Katlyn Chookagian versus Maycee Barber. I guess I'll go first on this one, man. Listen, Katlyn Chookagian, she's fought the who's who, right? And she's beaten a lot of them. 18-5 is a pretty damn good record. Last time out, she lost to Manafioro. It was a very close fight, though, quite frankly. And I thought Manafioro was going to beat her ass in that one. She did land the better shots, and Manafioro ended up winning the fight. But man, pretty close. My biggest Katlyn Chookagian is very good on the feet, right? That's her bread and butter. The Muay Thai, she's pretty damn good there, man. My biggest concern and the biggest issue with her is that she has no power. There's absolutely no power coming back. So she's very much a volume striker, right? That being said, even at what, 30, 37, 35, 36, how old is she?
Katlyn?
Yeah, whatever. 36, 30, whatever.
35. She's 35.
35. Okay. Damn, she's only 2 years younger than me. God damn.
2 years older,
anyway.
Hey, 2 years older, brother. Don't do that.
I mean, older. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I'm not 37. Fuck's sake. And if you thought I was 37, fuck you. Anyways, yeah, she got some good wins on her record, man, against legit top tier talent. Amanda Ribas, Jennifer Maia, Vivian Araujo, Cynthia Calvillo. But she's fought Valentina. She's fought Jessica Andrade. She beat Jennifer Maia twice, by the way. So, I mean, she's really good, man. She's really good. For me, it's just, I was like, had you asked me this a year ago even, I would have probably picked Katlyn Chookagian here, right? For me, and I'll be honest with you, I was a bit of a Maycee Barber hater. She was on the winning end of at least two very, very questionable split decision wins. I wouldn't say she's I just want to say not bad looking, right? Even with her big ass forehead, not bad looking, super young, all American talent, right? The UFC obviously wants her to win this fight. That's pretty clear. And she, again, a year ago you asked me this, maybe I wouldn't say this, but after watching that Amanda Ribas fight, man, I was very, very, very impressed with Maycee Barber. And truthfully, the way I see this fight going at this point is, if Maycee's not dumb, right? We've seen her make some stupid mistakes in the past and just throw combos just in the air. I remember one point Uriah Faber literally, I forgot what fight it was. He was like, hey, you have to try to hit her. You have to actually because she's just sitting there doing this shit in the air 2 feet away. Can you please get to it? Yeah, I was very impressed by her last performance, man. Her stand-up has taken leaps and leaps, right? And which is to be expected by somebody that's even now only 25 years old. There's a lot of pressure on her, right? She's put a lot of it on herself because she's cocky as shit. But I think this is the best that she's ever looked, man. She's a younger fighter. She's got way more power, in my opinion. And I think once she realizes that there's really not a lot of power or any power coming back her way versus Katlyn Chookagian, and if she does, right, if she commits to it and then realizes, oh, this lady can't hurt me, I think she'll have a very easy time from that point forward, quite frankly. I could see a TKO for Maycee Barber, but I'm going to go by this. I'm going to say decision here.
Yeah, I'm in exactly the same boat as you. I think a year and a half ago, I'm taking Katlyn Chookagian all day. Maycee Barber impressed me the last time out. And again, same like you, Dino. I'm not the biggest Maycee Barber fan. I wasn't, but she did impress me, man. She looked good last time out. So what can I say? She's 10 years younger. She's on a winning streak. I think it'll be a close fight. I think it'll be sloppy, but I'm taking Maycee Barber by decision. I don't doubt Katlyn Chookagian. I would never doubt her in a fight like this, but I don't necessarily I'm not infatuated by Maycee Barber's skills either. So it's close, but Maycee Barber by decision. By the way, Dino, when I saw her in Vegas, okay?
Who?
Maycee Barber. Ran into her at FanX.
I didn't see her. I didn't see her.
I don't know. It was while we were at the FanX thing for International Fight Week. Dude, she
Did you
was
give her a
walking
little
around.
kiss?
What is that?
Did you give her a little kiss?
No, she was with her man. So I didn't want to like do all that.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
anyways, dude, like we met a bunch of fighters. If you guys have seen some fight, like these people are humongous, right? Like even the smaller weight class guys are fucking huge. I was shocked at how small Maycee Barber was. She's fucking tiny. Like I know she's a girl, and the girl fighters are small, but like she's just like a little tiny ass girl, and she's just out there just fucking mauling people. I was like, that's wild.
You down?
Yeah, I mean, in real life, you never see that kind of stuff. This is fake, by the way. This is not real life.
I've seen women in real life.
You shoveled snow into one of their faces once, but we'll leave that story for another.
Yo,
We'll leave
you gotta
that.
chill. You can't throw that out without any context.
I mean,
one day I'll tell that story, but this is not that day though. You're insane. You're nuts for bringing that up.
Yeah, fun time.
Anyway, moving on. We've got Curtis Blaydes at heavyweight, of course. He's taking on Jailton, Almeida. I'm very, very curious. I asked you this is the only fight that I asked you about on this card before. I asked you about this, a few days ago. Yeah. And you're like, I'm not sure yet. And I'm still not quite sure, but let me hear what you got to say about it.
All right. Dino, -110 versus -110 at time of recording. This is a true coin flip pick'em. It's a pick'em. Anyways, to me, this is the start of a 6-fight main card. I know it's the final prelim, but this is a fucking main card fight, okay? Big boys. Yeah. We got number 5 versus number 7. I'm going to start with Almeida. Everyone's been enamored by Almeida, right? The grappling, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu. He walked through Biggie Boy, Jairzinho Rosenstrike using the grappling. Everyone was like, this is it. This is the guy. We found our new contender at heavyweight or at 205 or whatever the hell he wants to fight at. Then he fought Derek Lewis, Dino. Everyone thought that was going to be a cakewalk of a fight. And yes, he won the shit out of that fight. He dominated that fight, but he didn't get the finish. So a lot of people kind of like their opinion changed on him. They're like, man, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was. Number one, I don't necessarily think that's fair, right? Because he dominated Derek Lewis. He didn't get the finish, but he dominated that fight. So was it fun? No, but it was effective. On the feet, nothing really to write home about for Jailton Almeida. Moving on to Curtis Blaydes, we know who Curtis Blaydes is, right? We know what his whole style is. What's been his undoing, his whole career? He's had one thing that just constantly fucks him over. The power puncher, right? It's been Francis Ngannou twice. He got caught by Derek Lewis. And then, of course, last time out versus Pavlovich. My biggest question mark is where the fuck is the wrestling of Curtis Blaydes? He used to dominate people using the wrestling and the grappling.
I remember, I used to hate fighting him in the UFC video games because he would, especially when you would, do a heavyweight, he would fuck you up, dude.
Yeah, he was the toughest fight in the game. It's funny because you would always text me about that. You're like, God, I got to fight this guy. Or I'd hit you up like, dude, I just had to fight fucking Curtis Blaydes in the game. And it's super damn annoying. It's like fighting Habib. But when you're fighting the heavyweight, like when you make a heavyweight guy, you're using all your fucking points at striking. You want speed and power and shit. So your guy sucks. But anyways, where is that wrestling? Really, he used it against Derek Lewis. He got knocked the fuck out, right? When he shot that shot, he got caught with the uppercut. And then since then, I remember he used wrestling against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Against Dawkins, he used zero wrestling. He got the KO. And then, what's it called? What was the fight after that? Tom Aspinall. We didn't really get to see any wrestling, right? Because that was 10 seconds before Tom Aspinall blew his knee out. And then against Pavlovich, he was just willing to stand there and brawl with the guy. It's like he has a death wish. He wants to show. When he knocked out Dawkins in the post-fight interview, on the desk or whatever, he was like, no, I'm going to show you guys. I could swing with everyone. I'm like that. I've got hands and shit. And it's cool, I get it. You get a knockout, you fall in love with your hands, or you have a point to prove, but brother, that's not your bread and butter at all. You're a wrestler. So he needs to get back to the wrestling, especially in this one, because Blaydes' takedown defense, it's not the best, so he needs to be the offensive grappler in this one, He needs to take down Almeida before Almeida takes him down. Maybe he thinks I can stand with this guy. I'm not too worried about his takedowns and his powers. Nothing really to talk, nothing that threatens me. I don't know how the hell he gets it done. Full disclosure, I'm a huge Curtis Blaydes fan, huge my boy. I'm taking Curtis Blaydes, bro. Better comp, better offensive wrestling, and I think he's better on the feet. Curtis Blaydes by decision. What can I do? Who would I be? Who would I be? Your thing that you say? Who would I be if I didn't pick my boy?
I know, and I figured you would. This is such a tough one, man. You know, again, on one hand, it's like we've yet to see Jailton Almeida really have any trouble at all at heavyweight. You know, um, his ground game is just that damn good. But it's like his ground game is that damn good. Like, and even against Derek Lewis, yes, he got not the finish, but he pretty much dominated the fight. But Derek Lewis, that's like his kryptonite, right? So now you're fighting a guy who's big as shit, right? Who's going to be at the top, as he's going to be maxed out at 265, I believe chances are. Can you take him down? And somebody who's actually a good grappler, right? Now, we haven't seen many instances of Curtis Blaydes kind of fighting on the off the back foot, you know, figuratively speaking, on the ground, right? So that'll be interesting to see. As far as submission offense, let's be honest, Jailton Almeida is going to have the better actual submissions. So it's like seeing Derek Lewis hold his own, even though he, you know, and I mean when it's Derek Lewis, right? From Derek Lewis' perspective, him holding his own and not getting finished.
Yeah.
And being able to land some decent shots at times when he was able to pop back up. Oh, I've gone really back and forth on this one, man. I see a tough fight, but I'm going to go with Curtis Blaydes too, man. I'm going to go with Curtis Blaydes too. I'm going to say by decision.
Yeah. I mean, look, Jailton Almeida's good, man. But again, I feel like, Dino, we've just been seeing at heavyweight a lot recently. Like these guys, just like these guys that come up and they just skyrocket up the rankings. It's like, you hit a certain point, right? You hit a certain point. It's like you're not as good as those guys. There's a very fine line between like the really good heavyweights in the world and then every fucking body else. And whether you think Curtis Blaydes is in that elite group or not, if you think he is, then, you know, he's at the bottom of that group. And if you think he's not, he's the elite of the other guys. So to me, Curtis Blaydes is just, he's that damn good, bro. I trust in him. I just hope he does the right thing and doesn't fall in love with his hands and think he's some fucking brawler that can go out there and slug, you know? Because it looked like even in the Aspinall fight, like that's what he wanted to do. I know we only got like 15 seconds of it, but it looked like he was trying to swing with Tom Aspinall, which is not a game you should be playing.
No, and I mean, even Jailton has good power, man. I mean, is he the most technical? No, but he's got good power too, dude.
We'll see, you know?
It's not as straightforward as I think some people might think. So essentially all I'm getting at here. Anyway, moving on to the next fight, and brother, it's a very interesting one. It is a very interesting one, and of course, I'm talking about Petr Yan versus Song Yadong here. This is a big fight, man. I almost don't like that they matched up these two guys together. Song Yadong is somebody that I think is going to be here for a long time. He's still, what?
20? Very young. Very young.
He's super young, man. He potentially has the best punching power in this division. These two guys are both very, very good boxers. Technically, probably Petr Yan is a little bit better, but, man, it's not that far off. Both these guys are good wrestlers, too. Song Yadong might be the physically stronger guy, but Petr Yan, man, he's really, really good, too. This is tough, man. This is tough. Petr Yan, what a like terrible fight to come back to after 3 losses in a row. And again, the 3 losses were to the best of the best in this weight class. But it's kind of crazy, dude. Like there was a time when I thought Petr Yan was going to rule this division for a few years, you know? So, and I think it's a combination of things, right? I think we did overestimate him to some extent, right? But at the same time, too, it's like he has such a specific style in terms of, you know exactly what I'm going to say. What does he do?
Who?
Petr Yan. What does he do?
He starts slow and he just fucking downloads information. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was looking for. That's the thing here. I think that's going to be the key here, man. That's a big reason why he is okay. Say what you want about the O'Malley fight. Say what you want about the Aljamain Sterling fights. Like, say what you want about the Merab. He rocked Merab too, right? And Merab is just on EPO, first of all, and just a maniac with the takedowns, right? He has weaponized cardio, so it's not a good matchup overall. It's kind of sad to see, man. I just think this is a really tough matchup to come back to in a 5-rounder. I would pick Petr Yan here. I would. But give me the underdog, man. Give me the younger fighter. Give me the guy who's strong as shit, who's got really good power. Both these guys have good power, too. They're not that different, to be honest with you. I just think we overestimated Petr Yan in a lot of ways. I do still think he absolutely belongs. God forbid he leaves the. If he loses this, I certainly don't want him to leave the UFC or something. He's still one of the best in the world in this weight class. So for me, it's just if he takes 2 rounds to download information, that's not going to fucking work in a 3-rounder against somebody as tough as Song Yadong. Song Yadong is game as hell. He's going to throw big shots. And in my opinion, this is a very winnable fight for Petr Yan. If Petr Yan, if he comes out swinging, and I mean, come on, dude. If we know that he does this, he fucking knows that he does this, right? So that's the big thing here. And I think it's going to be a key factor in this fight. If he does what he usually does and takes 2 rounds to download the information, and then he'll win the first round, or the third round, I'm sorry, that's great. You just lost the first 2. Now you're going to win the third. Now what? You know what I mean? So if he does, it's all going to depend on that, in my opinion. If he does what he has in the last couple fights, or last few fights in general, he's going to lose. He's going to lose 29-28 decision. But if he has recognized that and uses the skills that he has and comes out swinging and doesn't kind of follow that same path, I think he'll win this fight. I just can't pick him, man. I just think Song is going to take that decision 29-28. I think that if you got to think about why Petr Yan does that, right? It's not he's just doing it for fucking fun, right? He's a very calculated individual, man, right? He's sitting there, he's trying to understand the movements, the tendencies, and feel the power of his opponent, right? So I don't think that's something that's super easy to break and not do, right? So for me, I got to go with Song Yadong, man. I'm going to go by decision. I just think it's going to go 29-28. I think we see kind of the same thing that Petr Yan has done. But I hope he stays in the UFC even if he does lose it.
All right. You said a lot of what I wanted to say, Dino. So I'm going to reiterate a couple things, but I also want to add a couple things in. Number one, if Petr Yan loses this fight, I think he goes to 1 championship, to be honest with you. I think he goes there and he's a massive star in that region of the world. He's from Russia. So when he's fighting over there in Asia and shit, I think he could be a huge star at 1 because his championship dreams in the UFC will be done. At that point, what the fuck is Petr Yan here for? What's he fighting for if he's not fighting for titles, right? So There's that. I agree with you. There was a time not too long ago where he seemed like the most unstoppable fighter in the UFC. Of course, to me, this card, a lot of what this card is and what this year so far has been is like a changing of the guard, right? It's a different time in MMA. Every couple years, you get this changing of the guard. And it hurts to an extent as a fan. And then, it's nice to see some new stars. But we've lost Izzy. We've lost Volk. We've lost Kamaru Usman. And I don't mean we've lost them, they're gone forever. They're still fighting and they're still at the top of their divisions. But we've lost them as champs. And Petr Yan was a champ when those guys were champs. And it seemed like to a lot of people, he was the one that was going to hold the belt the longest, right? He held it the shortest time. He made a huge fucking mistake against Aljamain Sterling. That caused him his title. And then that kind of just led to a spiral, like just a bullshit spiral for him. But anyways, man, yes, he starts slow. He processes info and then he gets going. He needs to adjust that in this one. That damn simple. A 3-rounder, he needs to start quick and he needs to probably utilize his takedowns. I think he's better in the wrestling than Song Yadong is. Song Yadong is easily taken down. One thing I will say to give Petr Yan some credit in the Sean O'Malley fight, a lot of people think he won that fight against Sean O'Malley. That was a 3-rounder, and he did adjust his pace in that one. And for what the fuck it's worth, Sean O'Malley's the UFC champion at Bantamweight. So that is as good as you can get, competition-wise. And he might have won that fucking fight. I think he did upon rewatching it. Live, I gave it to O'Malley, but I think after rewatching it, Petr Yan, 50-50 fight. Like you said, Song Yadong is going to be in this top 5 for a long time. Oh, man, close fight, but I'm taking Petr Yan, bro. I got to do it. Petr Yan by decision.
All right. Hey, listen, I absolutely see it going either way. And again, I kind of think that they shouldn't have made this fight, to be honest with you. I think they should have let Petr Yan fight somebody. Like, they literally were like, oh, you lost to 1, fight 2. You lost to 2, fight 3. You lost to 3, fight 4. It's like, give him like a fucking 7-8. You know what I mean? It's a tough division either way, but like, goddamn.
I get it, man, but it's just like, I mean, what do you do? Who does he fight, right? Like, I mean, he fought Sean O'Malley. Like, that was a huge fight down for him. Like, how can Petr Yan fight the 11th guy in the world, the 12th guy in the world? You know, to me, it just doesn't make like too much sense. You got to keep him around the title. But yeah, this card, dude, this whole card is this. That's what this whole card is. It's these young guys versus these veterans that are like on the decline. And it sucks, but we're at that time in MMA right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of old guys versus young guys, the 11th fight of the night, we've got Gilbert Durinho Burns taking on Jack Della Maddalena, man. And this is a fucking goddamn banger. What do you think about this one? How do you see this one playing out?
Absolute my fucking boy, Gilbert Durinho Burns, as you know.
To be honest with you, he should be everybody's boy. He is the one keeping the goddamn division afloat. He's the one keeping the division active. I mean, a lot of guys say, hey, man, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight any guy. Nope. Gilbert Burns is fucking he shows you, right? He is genuinely willing to fight anybody at any time. And you just got to respect the shit out of that, man. And have we ever seen him outclassed? We've never seen him outclassed. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think we have. No, you're good. I don't think we have. Gilbert Burns, 37 years old. Dino, he's fighting a 27-year-old Jack Della Maddalena here, right? Let's break it down as simple as we can. Burns' biggest weakness, he's been very, very damn susceptible to straight shots and jabs. Jack Della Maddalena, his hands are his best fucking asset. He's really good with the boxing. He has really good 1-2s. So that doesn't fare well for Gilbert Burns, right? Gilbert Burns does have serious power. He has a shot against anyone at 170. As far as the power is concerned, he can catch somebody. We saw him drop Kamaru Usman. We've seen him. I mean, the big like highlight reel knockout that he has is Damian Maia, which is like, okay, that's not that impressive in old Damian Maia. But we've seen him drop Usman. We've seen him drop Hamzat. He can clip somebody. He can clip anyone in the division. When it comes to the ground game, he's absolutely elite. And Dino's gone, but I'll continue doing my breakdown for a little bit. Dino?
Wait, what just...
I don't know. You're back, brother. Don't worry about it. But as far as the jiu-jitsu is concerned, Gilbert Burns is world-class, right? Former world champion in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. JDM last time out, man, he looked iffy against Basel Hafez. And how good is Basel Hafez? We don't know. He seemed good, but like he still hasn't really been tested. He's only fought one time in the UFC, and it was against JDM. I think this fight boils down to a couple things. It's can JDM defend the takedowns? Because Gilbert Burns is going to need some takedowns here. Because on the feet, I don't think that's his recipe to win. I think it's going to be taking this fight to the ground and using his jiu-jitsu. If JDM can stop the takedowns, I expect him to win. If he doesn't, I expect Burns to win. To me, it's a 50-50 fight. Burns is a dog, but I got to take Jack Della, man. It hurts me to say, but I'm going Jack Della by KO round 1. I think he ends the night with a 1-2, and then just, after he drops Burns, a little bit of ground and pound, and it's over. I just think at 37 years old, after like brutal arm surgery, I cannot pick Gilbert Burns here. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, listen, man. Like you said, it is a 50-50 fight. If this was prime, or even a year and a half, a year ago, Gilbert Burns, JDM's these are both my guys. I love JDM. Some of the best boxing in the division. I feel like he's kind of been exposed on the ground a little bit, right? Like Basel Hafez, who the fuck is Basel Hafez? You know what I mean? And maybe he ends up making a name for himself. I'm speaking in hyperbole here, but it's just like, truthfully, if I knew for a fact that Gilbert Burns was healthy, and even at 37 years old, if I knew that he was just fully healthy, I would take him 100%. I think there would be good value in taking him here as a slight underdog, guaranteed. To me, it's that injury, man. It sounded like a really bad injury. This is the second longest layoff of his entire career at 37 years old, right? It's like, fuck, like that. You're getting up there. You've taken damage, but goddamn is he game. God damn it is he game, man. He gives everybody a goddamn fight. Look at what he did against Hamzat, man. Like you said, like, unbelievable. It's just like, to me, the level of competition between them is so vastly different. I'm still legitimately 50-50, man. I can't pick against Gilbert. I can't pick against him, dude. I just can't fucking pick against him, dude. Like, he put up a decent fight against Belal. And say what you will about Belal, But Gilbert Burns had one arm in that fight, and he still put up a decent fight, man. It's just, and then we've seen, like, maybe Jack Dilla, I just don't think Jack Della Maddalena is going to be top 5. I don't think he is. There was a time when I thought he's a future champ, and I think I've changed my opinion on that. I still think he belongs in the top 10 of this division, and he'll be a mainstay in the division for a long time. I just don't think he's quite top 5 anymore. And maybe I'm wrong. And listen, let's be honest. Gilbert Burns is on his way out, right? 37 years old, as skilled as he is. We all know what's better for the sport, what's better for the promotion, and we all know what the UFC wants, you know. And maybe they're doing some strategic fight making here, right? Fighting somebody and beating somebody like Gilbert Burns is huge, and he is coming off such a bad injury. Again, if the injury wasn't a factor, I would be very confident about this. I'm still going to pick him, man. I'm just a lot less confident about it. It really, really is 50-50 for me. Maybe I'll change my mind by Saturday, but just give me Gilbert Burns, I guess, by decision here, man.
All right, I love that you did that, because the last time this happened the other way, where you didn't pick your boy, and like I picked your guy, it was Benoit Saint Denis.
I was going to say it, and he's on this card.
And he won, so maybe there's some of that fucking juju going on. I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong. I love Gilbert Burns. I would love to see it.
And I love to see you.
One more thing, Dino. One more thing. This Jack Della Maddalena thing, I do agree with you. There definitely a little bit of the like shine has been taken off. Like I don't think he's going to be a top 5 guy. I don't think he's ever going to fight for a world title. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, like I just don't see it anymore. Dude.
But there was a time I thought he could.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that too, because it makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy now. So,
oh man, we just got great feelings going on right now.
Have we've disagreed on what, 2 fights so far? This one and
no idea.
Okay, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, next fight of the night, and this is an interesting one, and certainly we can say that for every fight moving forward. But I'm talking about Kevin Holland versus MVP Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page making his UFC debut at almost 37 years old. Listen, man, this is first of all the debut of Michael Venom Page. I mean, it's interesting that he's finally here in the UFC. It's kind of like, you know, there was this one fine ass girl in high school that you thought was like so fucking sexy, right? And then like you always wanted to get with her, and then what happened is, like, I don't know, you went out last weekend. You saw her at the bar, and she's, you know, you saw her, and she's a little heavier now, and she's not what the luster's gone, right? She's not what you thought it was going to be, but she's down for you, you know? So, like, but you're still like, oh, she's not bad. Like, and like, oh, back in the day, like, she was great. Basically what I'm trying to say is I wish this happened much sooner, right? So I'm happy it's happening. You know, what does he really have to lose at this point? You know, the age is kind of like a built-in excuse. I just wish we saw this much, much sooner, because let's be real, man. The level of competition, even between him and Kevin Holland, is really not comparable. Kevin Holland has fought way, way better talent. So, which is kind of crazy to say, because MVP has been at the top of the second, we call him the second best promotion, right? For years and years now. So, you know, that tells you about the difference between the two, at least in this weight class, right? So, you know, like I said, he's almost 37 now. Kevin Holland, you know, we know what he is. For me, a big question mark in this fight is, and this is something, I love Kevin Holland as a fighter, and it's crazy, man. Like, I think he's one of the more naturally gifted guys in the sport, in the weight class for sure. But the mindset is what kills me, right? And I think it's something that we don't really talk about enough. But the mindset of, like, the excuses he makes, and like, oh, I don't really want the title. I'm just like, he's here for a paycheck. So listen, man, all I can do as a man is I'm going to take another man at his word. Okay. He's telling me that he's basically here for a paycheck and he doesn't care. And maybe that's him coping, and that's fine, but I'm going to take him at his word, man. So you got a guy that's making his debut in the biggest promotion in the world, so much anticipation behind it. And he's a crazy, unique striker, right? Like, if we're talking style, it's a very interesting matchup, because I think when we think Kevin Holland, typically we think like, oh, he's got this huge knockout power, and he absolutely does. And he is more a striker than anything else. But it's funny enough because, like, when's the last time he got a knockout, right? Like, he's been getting most of his wins recently by submission, which is kind of interesting to think about. So now, do I see this being a grappling match? Absolutely not. And listen, Michael Venom Page, you know, we've seen him take on grapplers and jiu-jitsu guys who are way beyond what Kevin Holland is, right? Kevin Holland's not all of a sudden now a ground fighter, you know. It's a tough fight to predict, man. You know, MVP is like Kevin Holland fought Wonderboy recently, and that's somebody who's a stylish, you know, fighter, a striker, you know. So that's like the closest comp, I think, for Michael Venom Page in terms of the people that Kevin Holland has fought. And how did that fight go? You know, we saw a really, in my opinion, a fight of the year contender for the year that it was in. And then Kevin Holland ended up retiring on the stool. His corner called it, and that's fine. It was a really, really tough fight. And I think he had an injury too. I don't see this fight ending in a knockout. Neither of these guys are easy to knock out. I want to say Kevin Holland's never been knocked out. Michael Venom Page, I want to say, has been knocked out once. I really do see this going to decision, man. First and foremost, I really do, which is crazy to say with these two guys who have good power and are so unorthodox. I'm a little nervous for MVP because he holds his hands very low at times, like literally like at his knees pretty much, and he's flashy with it like that. I see it being a striking match. I think it's going to be a tough fight. I'm going with Holland, man. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. You know, I did a long-winded breakdown there only because I was kind of talking through it on my own. I'm going with Kevin Holland. I just think – I know he's the younger fighter. I think he's got – Michael Venom Page has good power, but Michael Venom Page, most of the guys that he fights, almost all the guys that he fights, have a way shorter reach than him. Kevin Holland has – it's like the reach is like even, or what is it? Like it's close, basically, at least, right?
Kevin Holland has the advantage. He's taller and he has longer reach.
There you go. Michael Venom Page has never fought somebody like that. So, the mindset of Kevin Holland is the real question for me here. If he comes in with this nonchalant and shit, like he doesn't give a fuck, it's gonna be tough. You know, it's gonna be a tough fight either way, but. 50-50 to me, man. It really is. I think it's going to be a close fight. I'm taking Kevin Holland by split decision.
All right. So, look, you know, I agree with you on a lot of things here, man. Like, I do think the closest comp that we have is the Wonder Boy Kevin Holland fight, right? MVP is not MVP is not Wonder Boy. Let's just get that. Let's get that out there, right? Like, they're sort of similar in the fact that they're long-bodied strikers and they're very like classically trained and they do some fucking unique shit, but that's about like where that ends. Kevin Holland is the taller fighter here. I think the pure striking is in MVP's favor. I think the rest of the MMA game is in Kevin Holland's favor. The strength of schedule,
technically speaking, bro, Michael Venom Page is way better than Kevin Holland.
Right, on the feet for sure. On the ground, Kevin Holland gets that advantage for me as well. And then strength of schedule, Kevin Holland's is way better. There's no denying that. As far as MVP's former opponents, I mean, you look at the people he's fought. Douglas Lima is a pretty big name. What is it? Goichi Yamauchi is like okay, but he got injured like 10 seconds into that fight. I mean, it's Douglas Lima and it's Paul Daly and Logan Storley, I guess. You know, he's held in some high regards. I don't know, Dino. I just feel like
Kevin Holland would fuck up him.
Yeah, Kevin Holland beats all those guys. Kevin Holland beats all those guys. There's no question in that sense. But to me, I just think we saw what Wonder Boy did to Holland. I'm going to go with MVP, man. I think he's going to catch Kevin Holland. I think Holland's going to want to make this entertaining and stand and strike with him, and I think that'll be his downfall. MVP has some fucking wildly unique-ass strikes, and he takes people's heads off, dude. So I don't know what to make of this one. I'm not betting it. I think MVP gets the knockout. I wouldn't be surprised if Holland wins it, though. But for the official pick,
I just don't see either guy getting a knockout. But I absolutely could see either guy getting the decision win here, though. Michael Venom Page is technically the way better striker. It's just, and I do expect it to stay standing. So I don't know why I'm picking Kevin Holland, quite frankly. But that's just what my heart's telling me right now.
Yeah, we'll see, bro. We'll see. The UFC really wants MVP to win. You see how they're promoting the shit out of him right now?
Well, they have to. They
Yeah.
have to. It's a lightning in the bottle kind of thing. Because if he loses this fight, he's cooked.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on to the fucking co-main event of the evening. And, of course, I'm talking about Dustin Poirier. And he is finally giving somebody down the rankings a shot. And, of course, I'm talking about my boy, Benoit Denis. What do you think about this one, Dino Bam?
All right, man. 5-round fight, by the way. Do you know 5-round co-main event? It's a weird one. It's definitely going to be one of those butterfly fights like that you always talk about, right? I was nervous watching film for this one, realistically, and I don't really have like a fucking dog in this race, which is crazy. Like, I don't really care about Benoit Denis. Never been a huge Dustin Poirier fan, but like butterflies for no reason. I just been nervous. Dustin Poirier, man, he's an absolute legend. Say what you want about him, but the dude's fought every great that they've ever had in the UFC in his divisions while he's been there, right? He's fought all the guys at 45, all the guys at 55. Benoit Denis, Dino, he's on fire. He's a grappler when you boil it down, right? Like when you get to the bottom of it, like Benoit Denis is a grappler. Yes, he's aggressive as hell. He's really damn powerful. He swings big as shit, but I think when it all comes down to it, he wants to grapple. He wants to wrestle you, take you down, and submit you. He's sloppy, man. He kind of does remind me of like a Dricus du Plessis, of like he's got that kind of vibe to him. Anyways, I think Poirier, Dino, he's going to need to survive an early-ass onslaught in this one if he wants to win this fight. He's going to need to slow this shit down and get it into the later rounds. If we get to rounds 3, 4, and 5, I think Dustin Poirier has a really damn good shot at winning this. He needs to stay off of his back, though. We saw Charles Oliveira take him down, and he was able to hold him there and dominate him for an entire round. If he fights at Benoit Denis' pace, he might get finished pretty damn early. We have to remember also that Dustin Poirier was just knocked out in July. I know it's been like a little bit of a while, but brutally knocked out. I don't want to sit here and make any kind of assumptions, but it does feel, again, like we're in that new age of MMA. That's what a lot of this card is, right? Blaydes and Almeida, Yan and Song, Burns and JDM. I've been wishy-washy on this one the whole week, man. Like, I've just been kind of flipping on it. I think the later this fight goes, it benefits Dustin. I do have faith in him. I think he can avoid getting clipped early. He should win this fight. But I'm going to go with Denis, you know. I'm going to go with Benoit Denis. I think if you look at Dustin, he hasn't looked like himself lately. The KO loss, of course. Before that, he was getting his ass kicked by Michael Chandler. Before that, he lost to Charles. He could be on a 3-fight losing streak now. So, yeah, man, I'm for the first time in a long time, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm rooting for Dustin Poirier, but I think BSD gets the finish here in, like, the second round.
Yeah, listen, I love that you said that, man. I really, really do. Hey, what are you doing over there?
Huh?
What are you doing over there? Listen, man, I love me some BSD. The dude is a fucking killer. I don't know how many bodies he has on him, but he's got some bodies for sure, like actual bodies. This dude has probably killed people. Elite fucking soldier. The dude is out there to physically hurt you. The dude's a goddamn killer. Like, look at him. Look at his eyes. The dude is a fucking killer. Dustin Poirier, man, he's made a lot of money, right? He's got the hot sauce. He's got the counter fights. What does Dustin Poirier really have to prove? I mean, let's be honest. Islam would fuck him up. I think Dustin has realized that too. He's coming off a knockout too. I just think the motivation levels are so different. And Benoit Denis is the better grappler by far, the better submission artist. Dustin Poirier, he's always live for a knockout, you know. Dustin Poirier is one of the best boxers in the division and has been for a long time. And I have so much respect for him. He's such a tough fighter, you know. But I think we're seeing a changing of the guard here. And I think that fight is going to really signify that. And I really hope, you said you're rooting for Poirier, I'm really rooting for Benoit Denis here. He's my guy. And I think the lightweight division needs this, in my opinion. You know, we saw Ilya. I think it's time for this guy. Now, let's be real. Is he going to come in and do anything to Islam? He's not. So I guess it doesn't fucking matter. Even if he does, he'd be the Karl Malone to Michael Jordan. Yeah, I'm gonna take Benoit Denis, man. I'm taking him. I'm gonna take him by second round submission. Dustin Poirier's live for a KO, but the subs are kind of like his kryptonite. So I got to pick my boy here, man. I told you once I was very upset. I can't pick against him again. One of my favorite fighters in the entire promotion.
I will say this, though, Dino. I do want to just throw this in there. The last time we saw something like this, it was Rafael Fiziev going up to fight Gaethje, right? And I know Gaethje and Poirier right now kind of in different places in their career, but still kind of similar places, right? They're both veterans towards the end of the line, and they're trying to make that one last push. Fiziev wasn't able to get it done against Gaethje. We'll see if Benoit St. Denis is able to get it done and crack into that top 5. And man, what a fucking fight him and Arman Tsarukyan would be.
Man, it really would be. But you know what's crazy? None of this shit fucking matters.
Yeah, but you don't know that, right? Because Islam Makhachev, it's a weird situation. I'm not saying I expect Islam Makhachev to lose to anyone at 55 right now or in the very near future. But you don't know what the fuck this guy wants to do, man. He could fucking retire and shock everyone like Khabib did. He could go up to 170 and fight Leon. Like, he could just leave 155. There's so many things that can happen, dude. The guy has never, he's not very active. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be shocked if this division, like, any way this division plays out. I feel like there's a chance that we're sitting here next year at this time and Islam's not involved in 155 anymore, one way or the other. It's a possibility.
And BSD is what, 28, 29?
Yeah, he's young, dude. He's young.
So, dude, he's even young. Yeah, he's 5 years younger. Well, yeah, so he's got
28, dude. He's 28.
20, yeah, so exactly. So, yeah, I mean, even as, like, I don't see Islam staying here for another 3 years.
You're right.
So,
no way, by the way, no way 3 years.
No way, dude.
No way 3 years. And it's not, again, I want to clarify, it's not because he doesn't have the skill to be able to win for the next 3 years at 55. I think he could. I think if he wanted to, he probably could do that. But I mean, like, I feel like he probably goes to 170. I don't think we have more than 5 Islam Makhachev fights left in his career, realistically.
Well, especially at the pace that he's fighting at right now. And some of it's his fault, and some of it's really not. Like, we talked about this the other day. What the fuck is, like, let him fight Gaethje, dude. Especially now with Poirier beating Volk. They should cancel the Holloway Gaethje fight. Let Max Holloway fight Poirier and let Gaethje fight.
He's gone. But yeah, I totally agree with that shit. I mean, that's what you got to do. I agree with you, That's what you got to do.
Yeah, okay, you heard that. Okay. Anyway, going on to the main event of the evening, we've got Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Marlon Chito Vera. This is obviously a rematch. If you ask Sean O'Malley, he never lost that first fight, right? He injured himself, and he was winning it, in my opinion. He was winning that first fight. And I go back to what we talked about earlier with Pedro Munoz, right? I thought Pedro Munoz was winning against Chito Vera. Chito Vera, very similar to another guy on this card, and the fact that he sits there and tries to download information first. And, of course, I'm talking about Petr Yan. I can't pick against Sugar Sean here, man. I think he's super confident. He's on a roll. I do think he's going to avenge this fight. I don't have a ton to break down about it, to be quite frank with you. I think Sugar Sean is just better. He's better in the striking. He's rangier. I think he's got such stiff 1-2s and straight punches. I think he's improved since that fight, to be quite frank with you, too. People forget Sugar Sean is still pretty young, man. Yeah, as big of a fight as it is, Dino, I really don't have a ton to say about it. I'm very, very confident. I think it's a lock. I think it's a lock that Sugar Sean wins this. Chito, I think he's been overhyped to some. He's really good. Don't get me wrong. He has been overhyped to some extent because of some flashy finishes. And, of course, I'm talking about the Dominic Cruz finish. I'm talking about the Frankie Edgar finish, right? So, but he was losing both of those fights, arguably, right? So Sugar Sean is not somebody that you can do that against. Even in a 5-rounder, I'm very, very confident here. I think it does go to decision, quite frankly. But I think Sugar Sean wins this fairly handily. I think he wins 4 rounds to 1. I'm going to go unanimous decision for Sugar Sean O'Malley.
All right. A couple things I want to say, Dino. Two like pretty similar fighters, but different in their own ways, right? They're both kind of slow starters. Sean O'Malley, very patient. He's a counter striker through and through. Like, I don't think anyone can doubt that. He waits and then he snipes. That's his thing. And no, there's no knock on him. Like, he's good at that. He's sharp as hell. That's what he does. Chito Vera, on the other hand, he's a very in-your-face kind of striker, but he's not very busy, right? A lot of feints, a lot of walking you down, and he kind of looks to counter-strike as well. He's looking for that one kill shot. So it's kind of like you were saying, there's so many fights in Chito Vera's career where he's the one getting touched, he's the one getting touched, he's the one getting touched, and then he does huge fucking damage. The one that comes to mind more than any other is the Rob Font fight for me. Rob Font was supposedly, statistically, touching Chito Vera the fuck up. He was touching him with so many strikes. Chito looked like he was totally fine with everything, and then he would land a massive shot on Rob Font and destroyed his face through that fight, right? The Frankie Edgar fight, same kind of situation. He caught him at the end. The Dominic Cruz fight, same kind of situation. He caught him with the big kick going out. Now, I know that Chito Vera's knockouts, it seems like they come against these like shorter guys, and he's able to just catch him with that one big shot. Similar to Petr Yan, right? Like that slow starting thing, but he just looks for that kill shot. It's not a fluke because it's something that he's done throughout his whole career, and he's very successful at it. The question marks, Dino, for me starts the question marks that come in are Sean O'Malley. They're on his side, really. And for me, it's what does Sean O'Malley look like in a fourth round? We've never seen him in a fourth round. We've seen him in 2 third rounds in the last couple of years. That was the Chris Matinho fight, which we were at. And Chris Matinho, you could take that and throw it out the window because who the fuck is Chris Matinho, right? But when he fought Petr Yan, a high-level guy, yes, Sean O'Malley won that fight on paper. A lot of people think Petr Yan won that. But Sean O'Malley was starting to slow down in that third round. He got clipped and a little bit rocked in that round. Petr Yan was able to take him down. O'Malley was kind of cheating using the fence. So there are question marks when we get to those later rounds. What does O'Malley look like? That's why I wish we were able to see Aljo and him kind of go deeper into that fight. But anyways, it may sound crazy. I think if there's a finish in this fight, Chito Vera is going to be the one getting the finish, either by sub or catching O'Malley with something big. If that were to play out, I think O'Malley would be pushing the pace, trying to really get that knockout to increase his star power, to kind of get that revenge, that like stamp on that moment. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a huge Sean O'Malley fan, but I am going to pick Sean O'Malley by decision. I wouldn't be shocked, is all I'm saying, if Chito Vera catches him. I think it's closer than you're making it out to be. I think it's closer than I originally thought it was going to be. The closer we get to this fight, the more iffy I'm feeling. But ultimately, Sean O'Malley by decision. I don't think he would lose a decision. I don't think the UFC would allow for it, even if it was a 3-2 for Chito.
I'm saying bet the house on Sean O'Malley. And never forget, I was one of like 1%, less than 1% of people who picked Sugar Sean O'Malley to beat Aljamain Sterling by knockout.
Relax, not 1%.
There were very few
He
people.
was like a plus 200, my guy. He wasn't like a plus 1,200. Like,
all I'm saying is everybody thought that he was going to get outclassed in that fight. I said he was going to. I actually called that fight perfectly against Aljamain Sterling. I said he's going to get a knockout in the early second round after winning the first round, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. Anyway, it's a massive, massive card, and I'm super pumped for it. This is one of the biggest fights or biggest fight cards in a while. I know, obviously, we've had some big events, but I think through and through, from start to finish, aside maybe from the first fight of the night, it's just a super stacked card.
Yeah, it's a great card.
What else is there to say? Dino, Bam Bam, take us out, brother.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Dino, I didn't ask you earlier. Can you ring the bell? Boop. That's the sound of the bell, guys. When you ring that, it notifies you when our videos drop. You're going to want to be notified. Yeah, thumbs up, comment. All that shit helps the algorithm. Guys, we're trying to grow. You see all this content we're fucking dropping, right? Dino, we're dropping a lot of fucking content.
Well, this week we kind of fucked up in the last 2 weeks, to be honest. We could have done more, but
right. Well, we're fucking trying.
Look out for casuals. Look out for the parlay. Look out for some individual fight breakdowns and potentially some more shit. But this week we're going to go hard for sure. And thanks for tuning in, guys. We're 101 episodes in at this point.
Wow.
Just saying.
Yeah, 101 episodes. We're dedicated, guys. We're trying to fucking do this shit. So subscribe, all that. Follow us on Instagram, D107MMA, the bell, blah, blah, blah. Dino. Damn, I always fuck up. Dino, anything else?
Nope.
Nothing else from him, guys. He's DS. Nothing else from me. I'm Dino Bam Bam. We are the 107 MMA. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.